Imagine three rivers. One carved pyramids from sand, one breathes for the planet, one powers 500 million dreams. The Nile, the Amazon, the Yangtze, but now they're gasping, flooded, burned, poisoned. And here's the twist. You're part of it. Your breakfast, your phone, your clothes. This isn't just geography, it's prophecy. Because when rivers die, civilizations follow. So before we lose the pulse of the planet, let me tell you their story. Imagine a desert. Endless sand dunes, blistering sun, and then, suddenly, life. A thin green ribbon cutting through the Sahara like a miracle. That's the Nile River. At over 4,100 miles long, the Nile is often called the longest river in the world, though that title is sometimes debated with the Amazon. But when it comes to historical impact, no river comes close. The Nile flows from the highlands of East Africa through Uganda, South Sudan, and finally into Egypt, where it spills into the Mediterranean. For over 5,000 years, this river has been the heartbeat of one of humanity's greatest civilizations. Think about the pyramids of Giza, the Sphinx, hieroglyphs, pharaohs like Ramses and Cleopatra. All of it only possible because of the Nile. Every year the river would flood. Predictably, reliably, it would leave behind rich black silt, perfect for growing wheat, barley, and flax. The ancient Egyptians called it the gift of the Nile. And they weren't wrong. But here's something most Americans don't know. The Nile doesn't just belong to Egypt, it flows through 11 countries. And today that's causing tension. Ethiopia recently built the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam on the Blue Nile. Egypt fears it will reduce their water supply, water they depend on for survival. So the Nile isn't just history, it's diplomacy, it's conflict. It's a reminder that water is power, and as climate change dries up rivers, that power becomes more dangerous. Now let's fly south, way south, from the deserts of Africa to the emerald heart of South America. Welcome to the Amazon River. At 4,045 miles, the Amazon may be slightly longer than the Nile, though measurements vary. But what makes the Amazon truly unmatched is its volume. It carries more water than the next 7 largest rivers combined. Yes, you heard that right. Every second, the Amazon dumps 220,000 cubic meters of water into the Atlantic Ocean. That's enough to fill over 80 Olympic-sized swimming pools every second. But the Amazon isn't just a river, it's a world. The surrounding Amazon rainforest covers over 2.1 million square miles, an area larger than the entire United States west of the Mississippi. It's home to 10 of all known species on Earth: jaguars, pink river dolphins, poison dart frogs, trees so tall they pierce the clouds. And here's the kicker. The Amazon produces 20% of the world's oxygen. Scientists call it the lungs of the planet. But, and this is a big but, those lungs are sick. Every year, thousands of square miles of rainforest are destroyed, mostly for cattle ranching, soy farming, and illegal logging. In Brazil, deforestation rates have surged. Fires rage. Indigenous tribes, people who've lived in harmony with the river for millennia, are being pushed out. And here's where we, as Americans, come in. Our demand for cheap beef, soy, and palm oil drives deforestation. Our investments fund the companies cutting down the forest. The Amazon isn't just Brazil's problem, it's ours. Because when the Amazon burns, the whole planet feels it. More carbon in the air, more extreme weather, less rain. And one day, possibly sooner than we think, the forest could reach a tipping point where it collapses into a savanna. No more oxygen, no more biodiversity, just dust. So the Amazon isn't just a river, it's a warning. A warning that nature has limits, and we're pushing them. So what do the Nile, the Amazon, and the Yangtze have in common? They are all cradles of civilization. They all face existential threats, and they all remind us, rivers are not just water, they are life. But here's the truth most Americans miss. We are connected to these rivers. When you eat soy in your protein bar, you might be linked to the Amazon. When you buy clothes made from cotton, you might be tied to the Nile. When you charge your phone with electronics made in China, you're using power from the Yangtze. Our choices ripple across the globe. And here's the good news. We can change the story, support sustainable farming, push for climate action, protect indigenous rights, demand corporate responsibility. Because rivers don't care about borders. Pollution in the Amazon affects Miami. Drought in the Nile can raise food prices in Chicago. Melting glaciers feeding the Yangtze impact global sea levels and your coastal cities. Let me leave you with this. In ancient Egypt, they believed the Nile flowed from the field of reeds, a paradise in the afterlife. To them, the river wasn't just physical, it was spiritual. Maybe that's what we've forgotten. We've turned rivers into resources, into power sources, into political tools. But they are more. They are the pulse of the planet, the memory of mountains, the tears of glaciers, the promise of rain. The Nile taught us how to build. The Amazon taught us how to live. The Yangtze taught us how to grow. Now it's our turn to learn how to protect. Because if these rivers die, so do we. And that's a story we don't want to tell.